Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters and friends of Ikra TV. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk, the program that comes to you week in, week out, as I say, bringing hopefully issues that are of interest to you and your families and the wider Muslim community, as well as the other communities that within which we live. Every week I try and bring somebody to you who has something to contribute to this discussion, the debate that we have. Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, obviously we've been concentrating on COVID and COVID-19 and its impact on what has been happening in our communities and around the world, and how people have been affected by it. Everyone that I've spoken to, many people I know and I don't know, have been affected directly or indirectly by COVID-19. Many, unfortunately, have lost loved ones in this pandemic. Even now, today, despite the vaccinations, we get to hear things on a day-to-day basis where somebody has passed away from this evil disease that has befallen humanity across the world. We are very fortunate in this country that we have a vaccine, or a number of vaccines, which is now giving people some security towards prevention from this disease. There are many other millions of people around the world who don't have the benefit of having that safety and that security and that protection. So over the last 3 weeks, we've had consultants, we've had doctors, we have nurses, we have medical directors who come and spoken to us and told us about how this pandemic has impacted communities and what they are doing at the front line. And I accept, as I said last time, I think we, all of us, owe a huge debt to the people who are working in the NHS and the health sector itself, trying to keep us safe and well and trying to look after our loved ones who have succumbed to this evil illness, as I said. And they are putting themselves at the front line. And as many of you will be aware, that the Muslim professionals who work in the NHS have been affected at the very beginning, who gave their lives right at the beginning of the pandemic in order to save others. And may Allah bless them and their families, and may Allah give them the highest place in Jannah. Today I have a change of subject, no longer COVID or anything like that related to it, or health matter. Today I want to talk to you about something that the government has now set out to do. The government have put out a consultation paper wanting to have discussions with the Muslim community on the prevent policy, asking for the community to engage with the government on the review of the prevent policy. Now, those of you who have followed the prevent policy, who are aware of the prevent policy, it came out a few years ago, quite a few years ago, trying to stop young people from being radicalized into extremism. And at the beginning, it was aimed primarily, we thought and we felt, at the Muslim community. We have seen its impact over the years. There were stories about how the government or the security services had abused that particular power to target families, and including there was one young boy who in a nursery school spelt something which was spelt wrong. He wanted to say, "I live in a terrace house," and instead it was translated as a terrorist house, and therefore the security services started to monitor them. Now, this caused a huge sort of problem within the community, and as many will be aware, even people like the Mayor of Manchester and Baroness Seg01 and others have questioned the validity of that policy and whether that policy is having a real impact or whether it's being counterproductive. Many families have been victim to misinformation and mismanagement of this policy, and therefore, as some of them, including, as I say, the Mayor of Manchester, has called it a toxic policy, and even Baroness Seg01 called it into question and suggested that the government was wrong in the way it was implementing the policy and how the Muslim community were affected by it in an indirect way. Now, we know that over the last few years, or so, particularly in the last 2 years, the highest number of terrorism or terrorism-related or extremism-related activity has been taking place in the far right in this country, which is another great danger that is facing the Muslim community. But the government has not only asked for a consultation, they have actually appointed somebody by the name of, it's called William Shawcross, to head the review to look at how Prevent has actually worked in this country and what steps we need to take in the future. The problem with that is that Mr. Shawcross, or William Shawcross, has in the past made comments which are derogatory to of the Muslim community. He has made comments to the nature that Europe and Islam is one of the greatest, and Islam is one of the greatest, most terrifying problems of our future. I think all European countries have vastly, very quickly growing Islamic populations. And he saw that as a major threat to the West. And therefore, he actually, somebody says to me, defended torture as a natural response to terrorism and detention camps in Guantanamo. Now, if somebody has got these views and somebody believes in some of these sort of facts, then is he the right person to coordinate or to head up this sort of review? Many Muslim organizations throughout the UK have made it extremely well known to the government that they do not have faith and trust and confidence in this individual leading this review. Many organizations, many imams have actually written to the government protesting and saying that they will not be participating in this review. Today, I was hoping to have two guests. One is a guest that Iqra TV viewers know extremely well, and that is Sheikh Sulaiman Ghani, a person of enormous repute, highly respected, not just by the viewers of Iqra TV, where he presents a program, but also the wider Muslim community across the UK. And the other guest was going to be Ishtiaq Ahmed, the policy coordinator for the Bradford Council of Mosque. And unfortunately, Ishtiaq, something very serious has come up, nothing serious health-wise otherwise, for the organization to participate in, and therefore he sends his apologies. But Sheikh Sulaiman Ghani, by the grace of Allah and the magic of technology, is with us. So can I just welcome Sheikh Sulaiman Ghani to Real Talks. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. I'm deeply honored that you've taken time out from your very busy schedule to come and join us on Iqra TV. You are very familiar to our viewers. They respect you very highly. They think of your words. Your words are absolutely vital to what people have to, what you have to say. Sheikh, you have been involved in some of this discussion and some of this debate about the Prevent review. Can you just share with us very quickly what you think about the appointment of William Shawcross to lead this review?
Yeah, I mean, it is like this saying that if somebody, Jazakallah khairan, first Iqbal Banda, for welcoming me on your program. Yes, indeed, this is a very sensitive topic, and very one of the most important topics that we need to understand, given that when you have somebody like William Shawcross, who was already known to be an Islamophobe, who is already has, it's like having a track record. If you know somebody has a track record and his views, whether it comes to supporting waterboarding in Guantanamo, whether it comes to being part of the head of the charity commission before, and how many of the Muslim organizations they were really focused and targeted, how many of his views even represent and clearly show with regards to Muslims in Britain, in Europe. Why is he so, from his comments that have been made in the past also with regards to Islam and the Muslims in Europe, and many things to do with migration and multiculturalism. So we find that how is it possible to have somebody who already has a biased view about Muslims to be leading and to be heading the review of the Prevent strategy? Really, this was a, before this Prevent was implemented, there was the campaign to oppose it.
Mm-hmm.
We are,
Yes.
there is a campaign to boycott the review of the Prevent strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But really, we were hoping that this whole Prevent would be scrapped completely, because really it is demonizing and targeting the Muslim community in particular. And how can somebody, if somebody was, we said was not biased, or somebody was impartial, then we can understand that there is something to do, that the government is serious about the reviewing the Prevent strategy, this counter, radicalization or terrorism policy, where it has been implemented. And what we have found, even if you go on to the number of cases especially we have this organization called Prevent Watch. The amount of cases that has been, so many families have been impacted. But our concern is, yes, how is it possible for the government to appoint William Shawcross to be the head of to review the Prevent strategy when already he has a biased view? It really means it really means as if though the government is already rubber stamped it, and there is no serious intention to review the Prevent strategy.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, before I came on air, before I came to the studio, I was talking to one of our. I was talking to one of our friends from the Muslim Safety Forum, Yusuf Dar, who is another well-known person who's appeared on this program on a couple of occasions, and he was telling me that before appointing William Shawcross, apparently the government did have a consultation exercise of sorts where some Muslim organizations were consulted about the appointments or the intention to do a review. It seems like that the government talked to some people. Everybody said that this was not the person to be appointed, yet the government have gone ahead and done it without, due regard to the views of the Muslim community. I remember when the first Prevent policy was being discussed, even before it came out, I actually wrote to the government because I was an advisor at that time on the Muslim Engagement Forum or the Muslim Advisory Group on hate crime. And I said that this was toxic. I didn't use those words at that time, but this was counterproductive and will be targeting Muslims, innocent Muslims in this country. It seems like, you're right, Sheikh Sulaiman, that they have not really taken on board the views of the Muslim community. Now, as you say, lots of Muslim organizations want to boycott, have actually declared that they're going to be boycotting it. What would you like to see Muslim organizations, particularly the mosque and imams, actually do to make our community aware of what is coming down the road?
Yes, indeed. I think, there are many organizations that have already supported the campaign to boycott the appointment of William Shawcross to review the Prevent strategy. This needs to be really supported. This has to be supported by every single imam of the masjid, because it is concerning your own community, our Muslims in particular. They have, to remain silent. And what is really shocking is when you have organizations like Faith Associate and those who are, having engagement with these type of organizations who are already supporting the Prevent strategy, when they are silent about it, you see, if they also had took a stand, then we can say they are really concerned about the condition and plight of our Muslim community. When children as young as 4 years old only, recently there was the issue of a young 4-year-old child, with the game Fortnite that was reported. You see this channel program, how many of the children are being impacted. So we cannot understand and fathom that it seems as if though, when it comes to the far right and those who are the extremists, as if though it has been brushed, it is not taken as serious as how when any action or anything is, people are being made to spy on your own Muslim community, and many innocent suffering families are being impacted. And there is a fear. We want to encourage, openness and debate, and you want your child to have different opinions of many matters. So now you are already having so much, the parents have been afraid. What will happen if my child has to make a certain statement? Children are children at the end of it. So this whole concern that we have, if we remain silent about it, is going to have an impact on our madrasas. It's going to have an impact on the own community, Muslims coming into the masajid. And the ai will also be afraid. You see, if a person, when there is any issue of concern, then we must not be afraid to highlight the issue. Like right now, we are coming to a time where we need to discuss about Masjid al-Aqsa and the condition and the plight of the Muslims in Palestine. So it seems that if anybody speaks on this issue, if there is a voice has been made, then if the ai are going to be remaining silent, they will say, oh, maybe probably this will be ticked off in the Prevent, those who are reporting to Prevent. And therefore, we are really urging the Muslim community, those that have signed it, alhamdulillah, I believe well over 100 organization, community leaders, and many imams that have supported the campaign to boycott the appointment of William Shawcross. You see, one is just supporting the campaign to boycott William Shawcross, but the other is to highlight and to really bear in mind, and to in fact we are calling the ulama and the imams. Why can't we imams, ulama, all unite and take a stand? Because this is very clear. It is if somebody is known to be an Islamophobe and there is no issue about it, so what is the concern, what is the worry? Just support the campaign, and we hope and pray that Allah Ta'ala unite our hearts on this
Ameen.
issue
Ameen.
and not remain silent about it, because sometimes silence also means as if though we are approving of it.
Yeah, you
So
acquiesce
not
to it.
remain silent.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Jazakallah khairan for highlighting this very important issue which the
Actually,
Muslim community have
actually,
to take
actually, I
serious.
mean, Sheikh Sulaiman, I totally agree with you. I mean, the review was supposed to be impartial. The person appointed was supposed to be impartial. This is almost like asking the extreme right to come and do a review on how Muslims should be, or whether Muslims should be allowed to be here and live here and work here and pray here. Now, this totally discredits what the government is setting out to do. And let me make it absolutely clear. I and my fellow colleagues and my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters in this country, 99.9% do not want to see any of our youngsters engaged in radicalization, extremism, or terrorism.
Yes.
But, and this is where the but comes in, that does not mean that we don't want to be seen to be safe and part of the citizenry of this country. If we want to be citizenry of the country, if the government wants us to behave as good citizens of this country, then the government has got to show us some respect and take on board the views of people like Sheikh Sulaiman Ghani and others who have said, we want a review, not denying that, we want a review, but we want an impartial review, not a review
Yes.
to be headed by somebody, as Sheikh Sulaiman Ghani says, who has already made derogatory comments, dangerous comments about the Muslim community in this country. Sheikh Sulaiman, how would you like to see imams in this masjid, in masjids, take on this issue and talk about it in the Jummah khutbahs, etc., etc.?
Yes, I think it's really, really important because, we are in a time where there is the pandemic, and there was a time where masajid, many had, suspended the prayers, and then we are concerned about our safety. And remember, the one thing is also we need to concern and worry about ourselves, of the future generation, and that is our children, that if they are being made to feel demonized, if they are going to be made to feel, as if though many aspects of our deen is, tantamount, or it really seems as if though it is connected to radicalization, actions of the believer, children coming to the masajid, parents encouraging the children, if they these actions are part of our deen. Otherwise, it seems as though Islam has been criminalized. If we are going to adopt that attitude, a casual, cavalier attitude, and say, no, this is about stopping terrorism. As you rightly pointed out, it is we would not want to say, we are concerned about the safety of every person, every citizen. We know that Islam teaches us that we have to live peacefully. We have to understand that we are in a place where it's multi-faith, multicultural. There's no doubt about it. Islam teaches us promote tolerance, peace. But when it comes to our deen and our Islam and our way of how we practice our deen, then this prevent itself, this entire strategy of the government. It seems as though many aspects of our deen will be criminalized, and there will be verses of the Quran also where they will parents and children and teachers, they will be afraid even to speak about these many important topics. Look at this time that we are living in. Over 100 years have gone by now, and we understand that this, the end of the Ottoman period of time and the Khilafah. Look at the time that we are living. If we are going to be made to feel that, prevent its counter de-radicalization, this whole program, it's already been, many have already condemned it, and they are not in support of this program and this prevent strategy. At the moment you are saying review it, it was our goal to really have it completely scrapped. But nevertheless, we are saying imams, yes, you need to address this on a Friday. This should be a khutbah. A topic should be covered, because people need to be informed. Is it helping our community? Is it really creating, engendering fear in our young children? Are parents being made to feel afraid? So therefore, it is really important that at least if for this document or this campaign should have been supported by every imam, you know, just like how when there was the time to keep our masajid open, how many organizations signed and were signatories to it. You know, you had like over maybe 400 imam, 53 organizations. So this is even, it's more serious. It's so serious we cannot even explain how serious the matter is. I don't know how to express it in words, but William Shawcross, if you read about it and people are aware about it, people who are you know, engaging in the charity work, they are aware of it, and people even know with the foreign policies how he himself had supported in the past, his comments that he had made in 2012 against Islam and Muslim. So therefore, we are saying that it is really shocking that the government can rubber stamp this entire prevent policy. It is not to review it. It really means it has been further, and it means it's going to be implemented even further.
It's going
And
to be
in
strengthened.
a matter of time, Muslims will suffer the consequence of remaining silent about this issue. And shame to those organizations whom, even though they have the knowledge about William Shawcross, even they know that the government, and now that is the reason why government cannot be trusted in many matters. Even when it came to this vaccination, we had to do so much of extra effort because many people were hesitant.
Sheikh Suleiman, I mean, obviously, this is something that is important. I hope you can stay with us a little longer. We're going to be going for a break in a little while. But I agree with you. I think the government has either deliberately misled the Muslim community. But the question I want to ask people who are watching this program at the moment is, how many people are actually aware of this consultation taking place? Are you aware what is happening in our own communities, in our own country, what the government is proposing? As Sheikh Suleiman says, this is a real threat to the Muslim community. There's a possibility that you will not be able to say anything in support of the people of Palestine. There's a possibility that it happens now, that you will not be able to criticize Zionist, Israel, because that will be seen as extremism. Both Sheikh Suleiman has been the victim of innuendos and not idle threats, but actually accusations of where his personality and what he's been up to. And others have also been made to feel that they are not part of this country or they are enemies of this country. So this is very important. So those of you who are listening or watching, if you would like to hear your views, your thoughts on this, please feel free to ring 01274 214 299. As Sheikh Suleiman says, this is a really important issue that I would say 80% or more of the Muslim community are unaware of. So one of the reasons I'm raising this subject today is to bring awareness to the Muslim community. And inshallah, hopefully some realization will be there that there's something being proposed that will affect, as Sheikh Suleiman says, every one of us. So inshallah, we'll be back. We have to go for a short break. We will be seeing you soon. And inshallah, we'll be back to further continue this discussion. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.